Boa tarde, boa noite. É prazer para mim estar aqui esta noite em Sesimbra. Eu sei, Sesimbra é peixe. Sesimbra é peixe. Rotary Club, who just introduced us, thank you very much. To the president of the Rotary Club, I am very grateful also for your hosting and the honor. Miguel as well, thank you so much. I bet you previously you invited me to come to a Rotary Club event. I said I would. Here I am. So that's something I really appreciate. And last but certainly not least, and most importantly, President de la Cámara, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for not only the hosting us in your office and talking to me about this wonderful city of Sesimbra, but personally escorting Kim and I on a tour as we went down by the water. We took in the beautiful area that this is. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your graciousness. And I, of course, thank you for Sesimbra e peixe. What you may not realize is that I am now the new marketing director for Sesimbra. So I am promoting the fishing industry here. As I told the mayor before, that this is my first time and Kim's first time here in Sesimbra, but I'm also a diver. And so being able to do some scuba diving and coming back. Our residence manager comes here every weekend. My plan is to get recertified. So the next time you see me back, I might just very well have a set of tanks, a mask, and be breathing air through the regulator when I come here. So it truly is a pleasure, and it's really a pleasure to be also part of the Rotary Club. You know, my history with Rotary goes back many years. I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts. It's a town south of Boston. It was the gateway to the Portuguese community in Massachusetts. So in growing up, my classmates and my friends were Portuguese. I knew a lot about the Portuguese community. I knew that the community stood for hard work. I knew that the community stood for tolerance, family, the kinds of values that were important not only in my community but in my own family. So it was something that made me want to always come to Portugal. And having the opportunity to be appointed by President Obama as his personal representative, and that's what an ambassador is, the personal representative in Portugal, a personal representative of the president in a country like Portugal, is indeed a great honor. And when I grew up in Brockton, I remember vividly the influence the Rotary Club had in me and in my surrounding neighborhoods. The Rotary Club sponsored youth sports teams, raised money for scholarships, and provided important help to families in need. That was the great work they did. I will also tell you that the Rotary Club once a year hosted the best pancake breakfast anywhere you could get, and I went religiously to the Rotary Club's annual pancake breakfast. But it's not only in my community. The mark that you are making in the world is truly amazing. You count among your members prime ministers, princes, and presidents. And the most recent, president that you count as a member is the president that was just elected here, President Marcelo Rebelo de Souza, and that means something right there. You also counted in your members pioneers in health, science, and business, artists and innovators. In the United States, at least 4 of our presidents were Rotarians, including Franklin Delano Roosevelt and a fellow Massachusetts native, John F. Kennedy. Also, so was the first man who invented human flight, Orville Wright, as well as the first man that walked on the moon, Neil Armstrong. People like them who changed the world, from Walt Disney to Thomas Edison, and captains of American business, Sam Walton of Walmart fame, and J.C. Penney. The question is, why were these people so successful? And the answer is their Rotary affiliation played a huge part. At its core, Rotary is a service organization, bringing together talented and dedicated people to exchange ideas, to build relationships, and take action. In doing so, you make your communities, and indeed, you make the world a better place. And I have a common bond with you in that, as ambassador to Portugal, I too seek to catalyze a stronger bilateral relationship by linking our country's governments, business leadership, militaries, academics, and NGO leaders, to name just a few audiences. Rotary also collaborates with external organizations to multiply the impact either group has and could have on their own. The list of partners is incredibly impressive. From the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to the Centers for Disease Control in Rotary's fight against infectious diseases, to UNESCO and the World Health Organization in its quest to bring clean water to millions in the world's neediest places. The parent organization, the U.S. Department of State, also seek to harness the power of private-public partnerships to leverage our own resources. The embassy program that my wife Kim will discuss tonight, Connect to Success, is our most visible. And Rotary, in its day-to-day activities and long-term focus, seeks to elevate to leadership positions those individuals who possess integrity, ability, and the highest commitment to community service. Those same qualities I seek in assembling the embassy's own workforce. There's another quality that I covet on my team, and that's innovation. Now that may seem a bit unusual on the surface. After all, I am one of approximately 200 U.S. ambassadors, serving in a cabinet department with over 65,000 employees. But the attributes of every good innovator, creativity, perseverance, resourcefulness, and adaptability, can and should be harnessed in any organization regardless of size and not be viewed as something unique to the startup world. Fostering innovation and entrepreneurship to spur economic growth that is so very needed in Portugal, that's what I want to talk about tonight. And it's an endeavor Rotary can help push and foster. Entrepreneurship creates opportunity. It's the key to unlocking economic growth, creating jobs, and empowering people. From Levi Strauss in the 19th century to Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk in the 21st, entrepreneurship is in the genetic makeup of every American. It constitutes an essential element of my country's narrative and indeed is the basis of the American dream. But just as entrepreneurship is in our DNA, so too it's in Portugal's. What's more entrepreneurial and courageous than 5 centuries ago, the discoverers setting sail across the ocean in small vessels without GPS or even maps, and not knowing whether they would fall off the face of the earth, to discover lands then unknown across the globe. Examples of Portuguese innovation and invention abound today as well. Just look at Alexandre Soares dos Santos, who transformed Geronimo Martins from a small family business into a retail empire. Rui Ribeiro, who started working at the age of 13 and built Delta Cafes into a global business. And Sandra Correa, who is revolutionizing the way we look at cork, turning wine stoppers into high fashion. Entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology are top priorities for the United States. Last summer, President Obama traveled to Nairobi, Kenya, where he hosted the Global Entrepreneur Summit. While in Nairobi, the president made clear why entrepreneurship matters, saying that, quote, entrepreneurship creates new jobs and new businesses, new ways to deliver basic services, new ways of seeing the world. It's the spark of prosperity. It helps citizens stand up for their rights and push back against corruption. Entrepreneurship offers a positive alternative to the ideologies of violence and division that can all too often fill the void when young people don't see a future for themselves. Here in Portugal, the embassy has embraced President Obama's call to action to empower entrepreneurs. I'm proud of the fact that 3 of the 120 or so companies selected by the White House to participate with President Obama in the summit in Kenya were Portuguese companies. And I'm doubly proud that all 3 were Connect to Success companies, the program that Kim will talk about tonight. We agree with the President that the spirit of entrepreneurship, the idea that there are no limits to human imagination, that ingenuity can overcome what is and create what needs to be, is essential to creating prosperity and solving the challenges of the 21st century. And I'm a passionate advocate for the power of entrepreneurial spirit. I believe that societies that embrace that spirit can come up with solutions to challenges they face. Those solutions can foster inclusiveness, grow economies, promote stability, expand international supply chains, and spread the exchange of ideas. There's no one way to become an entrepreneur. Successful entrepreneurs can be anyone with a business idea, like my wife. And that person, however, has to push forward with a goal towards achieving success. And success can come at any age, regardless of one's gender, education, or social background. But it does take something special to find success as an entrepreneur. It takes creativity, dedication, flexibility, leadership, passion, and smarts. And most importantly, it takes self-confidence. Trust me when I say that no one will believe in you unless you believe in yourself. It's what allows someone to take risks, to fail sometimes, to then persist, and then ultimately to find success. As the United States Ambassador, I get the opportunity to meet with a lot of people who have become successful, and not one of them has gotten there without failing at something first. Successful scientists like 2006 Nobel laureate Craig Mello, who visited Portugal last June as part of a US-funded trade mission, noted that science is about testing hypotheses and proving them wrong far more than it is about breakthrough discoveries. And let me also note that Dr. Mello is a proud Portuguese American. Here's another example. An amazing artist, Mia Perlman, whom the embassy supported last year as she participated in the Lumina Art Festival in Cascais, spent nearly 20 years making art for virtually no one before she was able to develop into what now is a global success. Her work has been displayed around the world, including one piece Kim and I walk by every day when I'm home in Boston. It's located 2 blocks from our house. We at the U.S. Embassy are doing our part to support entrepreneurs, innovation, and technology here in Portugal. We're working to connect U.S. and Portuguese entrepreneurial and investor communities so that the great ideas that are being hatched here can find their way to the commercial market. I mentioned a moment ago Dr. Craig Mello. He made an important discovery when he came to Portugal last June. And what he discovered was that the quality of research and innovation in the biotech and life science world is world class. That is a 2006 Nobel Prize winner in medicine. Let me repeat it. That the quality of innovation and entrepreneurship in the biotech and life science world, and that includes research, is world class here. He was so impressed that he returned in December to develop a protocol for research exchanges between his university and Portugal's Institute of Molecular Medicine, and to further enhance collaboration with the Gulbenkian Institute. And that's the kind of transatlantic engagement that's so important, taking advantage of our combined strengths for our mutual benefit. In addition to organizing Dr. Mello's visit to Portugal, the Embassy, in its quest to foster Portuguese entrepreneurship, has invited a delegation of 11 highly successful U.S. entrepreneurs and investors in the technology, finance, marketing, real estate, and gourmet food industries. Along with meeting and mentoring Portuguese entrepreneurs, the delegation met with senior Portuguese public and private sector officials to discuss key opportunities and challenges here in Portugal. We've crafted a visit of 10 representatives of MD Anderson, one of the United States' foremost cancer research centers, including its president, Dr. Ronald DePinho, also a proud Portuguese American. MD Anderson is now working to make Portugal a centerpiece in its worldwide cancer prevention program. We brought Alice Loy, a social entrepreneur from the United States, to Portugal to work with startups and entrepreneurs throughout the country. Alice now is forming a partnership with Startup Angara in the Azores and Startup Lisboa and her own venture, Creative Startups, to support emerging businesses both in the Azores and here on the mainland. Such economic growth is vital as we attempt to help the Azorean government, for instance, grow its economy by diversifying and modernizing opportunities for the next generation entering the workforce. We've sent several groups of individuals to the United States on professional exchanges on various types of entrepreneurship. Just last week, and again focusing for a second on the Azores, we helped to expand their agricultural sector. We sent a group to learn how to process food and to promote farm-to-table culinary models. A farm-to-table movement can brand the Azores and leverage the increase in tourism occurring with the arrival of low-cost flights. We've worked with Dr. David Newman, the Deputy Administrator of NASA and former head of MIT's Portugal program, to create internships at NASA for promising young Portuguese space scientists. And let me tell you something Dr. Newman said when I first met her, even before coming to my post here in Portugal. I went to visit her at her office at MIT. She's a PhD astrophysicist who at the time was working on putting a person on Mars, literally. And what she said was the quality of innovation and technology coming out of the major Portuguese universities is equal to that of the major U.S. universities. And that's a statement by a full professor at the United States, one of the United States' premier technological universities, MIT. So the point is, what's happening here is very good. And I think the people that are the most surprised to hear that are the Portuguese, quite frankly. But what you have is very special. And so what we try to do in the United States Embassy is make those connections between the United States. I am the United States ambassador to Portugal, not the Portuguese ambassador to the United States. You have a very good one in Domingos Vital in Washington. But what that means is we are trying to connect everything that's good here in Portugal, because we know if it's that good, it's going to go somewhere in the world. And what we want to make sure is that the quality of that innovation and technology is matched in the United States. The exchange program that I talked about with NASA is just an example of the kinds of expanded bilateral educational exchanges between the United States and Portugal, knowing that those who study abroad and develop strong communication skills and appreciation and understanding of different cultures, and often can establish ties that will carry them far in their professional and commercial pursuits, including startup formation. That is something we are pushing very hard. The Embassy believes that offering both programming and technical resources to early-stage entrepreneurs and innovators can help foster greater economic development around the world. So to that end, we have supported the creation of so-called Fab Labs, or maker spaces, at 6 embassy-supported satellite facilities around the country. Most of these are at universities. These spaces are located on these university campuses and are available to the public and offer not only computers, but 3D printers, 3D scanners, and in some places, cutting-edge plotters, so that creative innovators can have access to the tools necessary to develop prototypes and test ideas. And then, of course, there's Connect to Success, a program close to my heart, not only because its symbol is the Portuguese heart, and not only because its creator is close to my heart, because of the success of that program. This U.S. Embassy program promotes women's entrepreneurship and was conceived, as I said, by a successful entrepreneur in her own right, my wife Kim. It was brought to life by Kim and the Embassy team. It truly is our flagship program and a source of great pride to me. I would describe the program more in detail, but I get killed by my wife. So I will leave the description to her. Just let me tell you, I will be beaming when I hear it. This effort, however, brings together corporations and universities to support entrepreneurship and women-owned businesses. And it's been recognized as a model, not only here, but internationally. In fact, thanks to Kim's hard work and the work of the Embassy team, Marta Moreno in particular, who's here and has given her blood, sweat, and tears for the program. Connect to Success was recognized in London this year as the European Diversity and Inclusion Program of the Year, and won one of the World's Business Awards, the Stevie Award in New York. Kim, as I said, will talk about Connect to Success, and I will play the role of proud husband. Let me say one other thing, though, about Connect to Success, and this is important to remember. When we started the program, we were hoping that we would attract from around the country 30 entrepreneurs, and we were hoping we would have 6 major companies that would agree to serve as mentors as part of the program. Instead, we now have about 400 women that are part of the program, women entrepreneurs, and we have close to 40 companies. That's what tells me that if we can nurture what is happening here in Portugal, not only with women, but with a new generation of entrepreneurs and innovators, the future of this country is bright. These young women and men, these young entrepreneurs, are the ones whose ideas and efforts will create employment, prosperity, and a more welcoming society in this very beautiful country I now consider my own. I'm happy to have had the opportunity to share some of what we're doing at the Embassy and impress upon you that working together, we can create great opportunities on both sides of the Atlantic. Muito obrigado.